Anelle and Jihoon Part 5. Annalie stood in front of her mirror, adjusting the clasp on her necklace, the one with her name engraved, gifted by Jihoon just days before. She traced the letters with her fingers. This was the morning of the interview that would catapult their story into the public eye. Downstairs, Jihoon adjusted his cufflinks, nerves coiled tightly in his chest. Not for the cameras, not for the press, but for what this moment meant. Not just for his reputation, but for her, for them. Would the world accept her the way he had? Would they tear her apart before they had the chance to truly begin? When Annalie stepped into the room, he paused. Her soft blue dress flowed like water, graceful and strong, just like her. She smiled nervously, and he crossed the floor to take her hand. "Whatever happens in there," he said, his voice low, "we face it together." She nodded, eyes glistening. As they entered the studio, camera lights flashed and producers murmured instructions. She sat beside him on the interview couch, microphones clipped, nerves buzzing like static. The host smiled. "Thank you for joining us, Mr. Han. And Miss Maposa. Welcome. Thank you for having me." Then came the first question. "Mr. Han, why now? Why reveal your relationship so publicly?" Jihoon looked at Annalie, then to the camera, because hiding something real felt like a lie. "Annalie saved my life, not just physically. She reminded me of who I wanted to be. And I want the world to know her, to respect her, to love her the way I do." An audible gasp spread in the room. Annalie blinked, stunned. The words hung in the air like fragile glass. Her throat tightened. She hadn't expected him to say it. Not like that, not here. She reached for his hand beneath the table. Then came the harder questions. "Annalie, can you tell us how you came to Korea?" She took a breath. "I moved here a few months ago, after I lost both my parents in a car accident back in South Africa. I had just finished my degree in fine arts. I'm an artist. I didn't have much, but I wanted a fresh start. I found a job listing online for a nanny position. That's what brought me here." "And your parents?" the host asked gently. Her voice faltered just a second. "I was an only child. My mother had me before she met my dad, but he loved us both like we were his whole world. I never called him anything but Dad. 3 months ago, a trailer crushed them as they drove home one evening. It happened very fast. I thought going to another country would help me heal." Silence settled over the studio. Even the camera crew paused. "I'm so sorry," the host said quietly. Annalie smiled gently. "Thank you. I didn't come here expecting any of this. I'm just a regular girl. I wear sneakers more than heels. I draw when I'm sad. I like quiet parks and black tea. I'm no celebrity. But when I saw Jihoon that day, unconscious in the park, I couldn't just walk away." The crowd watching through monitors behind the set erupted into applause. Some stood, visibly moved by her honesty. One crew member wiped their eyes, another whispered, "She's brave." Annalie's aunt, her late mother's sister, gasped when she saw her niece's face on screen. She leaned in, one hand pressed to her chest. "She made it," she whispered, tears falling. "Oh, my baby." Susan, Annalie's best friend, watched on her cracked phone screen, her expression unreadable. She texted Annalie later. "You looked beautiful. Guess your life is changing fast. Hope there's still space for us normal ones." Jihoon made a quiet call. That evening, he drove across the river into the outskirts of Seoul to visit the family elder, his grandfather, Chairman Han. The old man sat quietly in the private study, listening to every word Jihoon said. "So you've made your choice?" he asked finally. "Yes, grandfather. She's not just kind. She's strong. She's honest. And foreign," the chairman murmured. "But not unworthy." He sipped his tea, then continued. "Before continuing, please support me by subscribing to my page. I will be delighted. Thank you very much. Bring her to me. There is a traditional rite I would like to perform, not to judge her, but to see her spirit. I want to know who she is before this family accepts her." Annalie and Jihoon. Part 6. My grandfather wants to meet you today, he said, eyes unreadable. She was surprised why she murmured. There's, a family ritual. It's traditional. He says it's not a test, but Annalie took a breath. But it is. Jihoon nodded once. Despite her anxiety, she agreed. Tell me what I need to do. A black car took them into the outskirts, far from the buzz of Seoul. They passed through stone gates and entered a traditional Hanok estate, surrounded by pine trees and silence. The atmosphere was heavy, ceremonial. Inside, Chairman Han waited. The old man sat upright, dressed in a dark hanbok, incense trailing beside him. Candles flickered. On the table before him were tokens, scrolls, and a single bowl of clear water. Welcome, Miss Mafosa, he said, voice steady but calm. Please sit. Annalie bowed respectfully and knelt across from him. Jihoon stood beside her. This is not a judgment, the elder said, locking eyes with her. It is a tradition to sense intention, spirit, and truth. The purity we seek is not of the body, but of the soul. Annalie swallowed her fear. I understand. Chairman Han dipped his hand into the water, then took a sheet of parchment and whispered in Korean. The words were ancient. Jihoon translated softly. It means, may the water show us what eyes cannot. He placed the paper in the bowl. It floated, then slowly began to absorb ink, revealing a symbol, a blooming lily. The old man watched, his eyes narrowing, and then he nodded. She carries grief, but she does not drown in it. She loves without chains. She does not take. She gives. Then finally he looked at Jihoon. You have chosen wisely. Annalie blinked, not realizing she had been holding her breath. Thank you, she whispered. The old man stood and for the first time bowed slightly to her, a signal of rare acceptance. However, two big, strong shadows linger around her. How she overcomes them is not certain. But as they left the estate, something felt off. A shadow lingered by one of the trees. Back in Seoul, Susan sat at her laptop, reading headlines. Foreign girlfriend passes family ritual. Han family elder approves. She paused. She hadn't heard back from Annalie yet, not since the interview aired. A flicker of something passed through her eyes. Not quite envy, not quite sadness. She clicked to another tab, a travel site. Later she would message Annalie, asking casually if the agency or Jihoon's family might need more help. She missed her, she said. She was proud of her. And Annalie, still soft-hearted, would smile and begin to draft a reply. Meanwhile, Yura sat in a sterile clinic. Her hands trembled. A doctor stood beside her. Ultrasound paused. Miss Yura, there's something we need to discuss. She looked up, eyes wide. What do you mean? The doctor hesitated. There's a complication, and the child may not be viable. Yura's breath caught. Everything she had weaponized suddenly felt fragile. Later that evening, back at home, Annalie stood on the balcony. The air was crisp. Jihoon joined her quietly. My grandfather likes you, he said. But, she asked, sensing the pause. He looked toward the city. But the world is watching, and not everyone claps when they see us together. Annalie leaned her head on his shoulder. Then let them watch. I'm not going anywhere. Jihoon smiled faintly, but his heart thundered beneath his calm expression. There was something he hadn't said yet, something building inside him like an ache, a truth he hadn't had the courage to admit. Tai-ho and a couple of their closest friends had come by for coffee. Annalie joined them in the lounge, wearing simple jeans and a soft sweater. The room lit up when she laughed, and Jihoon noticed how his friends exchanged quiet glances.